Are we ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Hi, I'm Anthony. This is my mom, Tanya, and we are knitters. And well, she's a knitter. I'm a
Hobbyist.
I'm a hobbyist.
A hobby knitter.
Yeah.
A very casual hobby knitter.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working.
Social. Maybe we should call you a social knitter.
Yeah, I'm a social knitter. Cause at home, at my house, I don't just sit down and knit. I knit whenever other people are knitting. So so a social knitter. My mom, she knits whenever she has time to knit.
I look for time to knit. I don't care if there's people. Preferably there's no people
Yeah,
when I'm at home.
So her perfect day is a day alone, so that she can knit.
Not necessarily alone. I mean, I live with a husband, and I live with a 4-year-old.
Yep.
And so at home, yes, I would prefer to be knitting alone. But I'd really love to have a knitting group.
That is one of the main reasons why we started this channel, because with the everything's kind of just been shut down, and so we have gone to a knitting store, and the knitting store, they have knitting groups, and we really enjoy that, but but now it's gone, and so
it's not quite as accessible.
No. And so so we're just kind of
This is kind of what we're, I watch YouTube while I'm knitting, and I watch YouTube knitter channels, and they all, I can't say they all, several of the ones that I've watched, I'll see a personality that I'm like, oh my gosh, I could totally sit and knit with this person for hours, and that's what I end up doing. They're just on a screen. And they all say, well, we started this so that we could get connected with other knitters. And right now I'm missing that connection. And I think Anthony's missing that connection. And so we just figured this is kind of what we would see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a crafty person.
She has.
I started crocheting when I was probably 9 or 10. And I distinctly remember my mom had a broken arm, and she had a cast on her arm, and the cast kept getting dirty. And so I crocheted a cover, and there was no pattern. I don't know that I could have followed a pattern at that point. I knew how to make a chain and connect it and go around in a circle. And I figured out how to make a hole for her thumb in that cast. And then I took a few years off and enjoyed my 20s outside of crafting and parenting. And I just couldn't wrap my head around knitting. The idea of 2 needles and 1 string.
That was new.
It was beyond my ability to comprehend for a very long time.
Yeah. I remember, as long as I remember, I mean, yes, she took breaks, but even through her 20s, she was, what was it? Like you take a single needle and you go
cross
up.
stitch.
Yeah, cross stitch. She did a lot of cross stitch. Oh my goodness, she did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course she crochets, and I remember her saying, while I was growing up, I was a little kid, and she actually said, she's like, I just don't, I've always been with one needle, and with
One
two,
hook.
yeah, with one
Crochet
hook or like one little needle, and so she's like, but two needles, that she's like, I can't.
My brain just wouldn't follow.
Yeah, but then I had a doctor's appointment in Seattle, and so on the plane, we were separate, but I was sitting next to.
We were separated by the aisle.
Yeah,
we both had aisle seats,
yeah.
and so we were next to one another, but there was an aisle in between.
Yeah. So the person sitting next to me, she was making a cowl.
Knitting a cowl.
Knitting a cowl.
So we are both born and raised and spent the majority of our lives in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And this was an English woman who had traveled up to Alaska, and she had spent the summer touring and sightseeing Alaska, which a lot of people do, and it's a beautiful state to do that. Yeah. And she was on her way back home, and she was just going to town. And Anthony got to sit next to her.
And I'm a very social person, and I struck up a conversation with her. I was like, so how, like, is it confusing with the two needles? And she explained it. She was very, social as well. She immediately, we just started talking, and she filled me in, and I was just like, oh, that's really cool. Like how can I how could somebody try and go and start doing that? And so she told me, she's like, well, you need to get this and this, and pick out your yarn and the pattern and what you want to make. And so immediately we landed, and my mom and I, we just
So there's a bit more to the story.
Well,
I mean,
in
their conversation, absolutely in a nutshell, their conversation started with, oh, where are you going?
Yeah.
What have you been doing? Well, being from Alaska, Anthony had an accident when he was 20, and he was at work, and he fell off of a building and suffered a traumatic brain injury. And so that kind of left him with a few deficits, cognitive. And at that point in time, he was still, not necessarily finding the right word, or would get kind of lost in the understanding of things. Yeah. And so things that he was wanting to do, he would have a lot of questions. And so he expressed an interest in knitting, and I immediately felt dread because I was like, I am not going to be able to help with the knitting. I wasn't knowledgeable. I having several live stitches at once hanging out on a needle was stressful. I mean, crochet is one live stitch and one hook and one thread. Yeah, and so it stressed me out, and this woman was so patient and so kind, and in her explanation to Anthony, and he starts nudging me, mom, switch seats with me, come look at her, come look at what she's doing. And I mean, she was just such a kind woman. I've since realized the majority of knitters are very kind, especially when you want to talk about their knitting.
Yeah.
And so when we landed,
when we got a hotel room, because we got, You can.
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Because workman's comp, they paid for the trip because it was a medical trip, and so they had hired a driver, and the driver took us to a hotel and we got the room, but after that we took off and we went to a knitting store.
He Googled his.
What? I have
Put
memory
your hands
issues.
in your lap.
Sorry. I
This doesn't mean I'm trying to clap my hands and put them in my lap. He Googled.
I have memory issues. I don't remember a whole lot of that. I just remember, I told you everything really. I just remember talking to her, getting like little details, and we ended up. She
really slowed it down. She was working on a circular needle and she's making a cowl, and she really slowed down the stitches and really showed him how it worked. And so when we landed and got to the hotel, he had already Googled the nearest yarn store, and we walked from the hotel.
It wasn't very far.
No, a couple blocks maybe.
Yeah.
And picked out some yarn. I see that.
Yeah.
Picked out some yarn and some needles, and
I got it.
you got it.
I did.
Picked out some yarn and some needles, and we went back to the hotel and got on YouTube and had no idea where to start. And so watched a few videos and we're like, okay, we need to learn how to cast on. And so we searched for a casting on video, and that's how we learned how to knit. And Anthony went to town.
Oh man.
Making cowls.
Yeah, because
it was the coolest thing for him.
Yeah. I made a bunch of cowls.
Yeah, like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Different colors, different lengths, different diameters. And once I learned, that was it. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Annie she's the owner of the local yarn store in Anchorage, and she is just the sweetest, most kind woman, and so very patient.
Yeah.
And I would have questions, and we would go in there. And so Anthony's my oldest of 4. He's 26, but I also have a 4-year-old. She's my youngest. And when we were going in there, she was still itty bitty in the carrier. And I think when we first went in there, I was still pregnant.
I think actually you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I was 20, and
when you had your accident.
When I had my accident.
Mm-hmm. And so so I would have been pregnant when we started going into the knitting store.
Yeah, and so we're not 22 years apart, because I'm 26, my sister's 4. She's turning 5 later on this year, so we're 21 years apart. And that was the year that I was turning 21, but
she wasn't born yet.
Yeah, no.
So I learned how to read a pattern, and so I just honestly can't get enough, which drives my husband insane. I recently was going through my yarn stash, and he's a very intelligent man, and he knew better than to say something about the amount of yarn or the price tags that he saw still on some of the yarn.
I'm not that intelligent.
It's just I've got it. And I've seen pictures on Facebook. I'm a member of several knitting groups on Facebook, and I don't think my stash is insane.
It's not, but the prices
That's not my fault. The prices were not my fault.
Did you buy them?
I paid for them, but I didn't set the prices.
You paid for them.
But it's not my fault. I wanted it, and that's what they were charging.
Yes.
And they're beautiful and
They are.
totally worth it.
Yes.
Every penny.
Yes. Yes. So for me, I am like, so part of having a brain injury is you have impulse. Yeah.
Impulse control issues.
Yep. And so
sure.
I was just going to say, I'm very careful on how much I spend my money, but I just bought, I was at the mall and I bought $40 worth of shoe cleaner. Whenever I do, I have quite a bit of shoes, but I don't really clean them that much. That's why I don't buy white
But he
shoes.
really thought he needed shoe cleaner.
This is a great shoe salesman.
He
was at a kiosk.
Oh goodness.
Yep. Yep. And yeah.
It's an issue.
But still.
That's okay.
A little thing, $100. And she bought 3 of them. I don't understand. 4 of I don't understand, but you knitters.
You're a knitter.
Well, I'm a
just
social knitter.
You're not a spendy knitter.
I'm not. And I mean, like, I don't knit all that often, and so why would I spend $400 worth of yarn?
So I did have a bit of a problem. It wasn't a problem. It's not an issue unless you don't have the money. Okay?
Okay.
And at that point in time, the money was not the issue. However...
Or you do have an issue on how you spend your money.
No, I don't. My money is spent exactly how it should be. But if you have... So I would buy yarn because it was soft.
Yeah.
And so squishy. But I would just do that. And then I'd be like, what am I going to do with this? This is a common problem. Watch some YouTube videos. This is a common issue.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing was I am not going to buy yarn unless I buy a project bag and a pattern with it. So
how many project bags do you have?
So many.
Yeah.
So many.
But
they all have projects in them with patterns waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what is going to be made in that project bag. And I know that I have the yarn for it. Yeah. I don't buy the needles because I do have the interchangeable set. I think I need another interchangeable set, but that's down the road. Think about Christmas. But so that's what I started doing.
So, okay.
And then I got introduced to kits. Oh, the kits. And then I really enjoy knit-alongs. I like having a group of people all working on the same thing with their own color schemes. And
Are you doing one right now?
Yeah, but that was the mystery knit-along with Stephen West. But I really enjoy the fact that you've got different level knitters. Okay, and I consider myself an advanced beginner. I think that there's still so much for me to learn. And I'm always learning new stuff. And so I just think that doing a knit along where you have these advanced women that have been doing it for years, and they're there and they're at their own rate. Some of them have finished one and are working on the second one. And I just think it's wonderful, and I'm missing that. And so I did just recently sign up for the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along. It's the first Stephen West pattern I've ever done, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yes, So that's why I guess we're starting a YouTube channel, podcast, talk, video. I don't even know what to call them anymore.
Yeah.
But yes. So Anthony is working. So first thing we are, and there's some things that socially aren't acceptable to talk about in big groups. Politics are one. Today is November 4th, so we're still waiting to hear about who our new president is, but we will not discuss politics.
Nope. And for me, I'm a pretty religious guy.
We will talk about religion.
Yes. But
because that's not something that, everybody has their different beliefs, and everybody's entitled to that.
But
however,
it's not going to be like a preachy thing. No, it's not going to be like that.
We have, it's an important part of our lifestyle and our beliefs, and we don't expect everybody to agree, and that's okay. We're both Christian, so we will have, we will put a scripture on the video, maybe right here. I'll try to get it in there. But maybe not. This is our first one. I might not be able to figure out how to do it. But I always think it's cool when people say, I'll put in a picture right here.
Yeah.
And up pops a picture.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm there yet. But I will try.
Yes.
But we will put in a scripture each time we do a video. And we're not going to talk a whole lot about it. It's just what's on our hearts that day. And I have, one whip that I'm doing. I've been doing it for a very long time. And it's a wedding gift for a couple that just celebrated their second wedding anniversary.
Okay,
and are
so
now parents.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
She
knows what I'm getting ready to say.
I don't trust what's getting ready to come out of your mouth.
Yeah, you already know what I'm about to say.
We'll just say it's a work in progress.
And
I will bring it out one of these days, one of these episodes. It's called my Chloe blanket, and it is a wedding gift. I'm not going to talk about it. It's very beautiful. I'm not going to talk about the design yet.
Okay.
But I only work on that project when I'm in a good positive mood. I don't work on that one if I'm stressed out and just want to decompress. I will listen to my worship music when I'm working on that, because I really just do want positive going into the creation of this wedding gift. And I'm going on 2 years, and I think I just hit the halfway mark. But, so yeah, it is something that we both feel very, very strongly about, and it's not something that we but this isn't a religious podcast. It's a knitting podcast.
It is.
And that's where the main focus will be. So, what are you working on, Anthony?
I have it written down because I can't remember stuff.
I have mine written down too. But...
Yeah, it's yes.
You can pull it out. I'll hold this for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Pull it out of your knitting.
Well, I was like, wait, pull. I don't understand. Okay.
So what's it called?
It's called a Honey Cowl by Antonia Shankland.
And it is a free pattern on Ravelry.
It is. And when did I start this?
It's been about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. But it's a really beautiful stitch pattern. What yarn are you using, Anthony?
Well, here. I am using loops and threads, Eco Cozy, and the color is light Focus.
I think it's pretty focused.
Okay.
And what needles are you using?
Red Lace Circular by Chao-Gu.
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 And what size?
15.
US 15.
US 15.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I also, because
but first.
Oh, first.
That wedding gift. I forgot that I was going to talk about it.
There's no need.
No, there is a need. While they were engaged, she's like, I'm going to make them a wedding present. I'm going to give it to them at the wedding.
This is my husband's niece.
Hold on.
He and I were not married at the time. And before he had a daughter, this young lady was the apple of his eye. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to offer to make something amazing for them.
It's a decent sized blanket.
5 foot by 5 foot.
Yes. And
double knit.
Yep. And it will, and she's like, I'll have it done by the wedding. And how long did you start it before the wedding?
5 months.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered the yarn in December and they got married on April 20th.
Yep.
But I was designing the pattern and it took me several weeks to write out the pattern.
Yes. Beautiful pattern.
And then I started knitting it and there's 377 rows. And so I broke it out into days. Like, I need to do this many rows on this day in order for it to be done in time. And I need to do this many rows each day up to the wedding.
How long does it take you to do
an hour?
One row, an hour. And so now imagine having a 4-year-old.
A newborn.
Yeah, at the time, a newborn.
She was a little baby at the time.
Little itty bitty.
Very, very demanding.
Yeah.
Infant.
Yeah.
Toddler.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Anthony's honey cowl.
Yep.
He likes using big needles. It's easier for him coordination-wise to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I had this pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is called the honey cowl. And I suggested that because he struggles a little bit remembering how to do the stitches. So I've made a video. Okay, this is how you cast on, and I very slowly do the cast on for him so that he can watch that video over and over and over. And the knitting stitches. Okay, this is how you do a knit stitch. So if he puts it down for 3 or 4 days and he picks it back up, he's like, ooh, what do I need to do? He can go back and watch that video. Mm-hmm. So he does have those available so that he's able to just go back and do it. So all of his cowls were just straight knit all the way around, row after row after row. He loved it. It didn't require much thought. And so this one is a little bit of a challenge for him. Mm-hmm.
It may not be a challenge to you knitters.
You're a knitter.
Yes, I know I'm a knitter, but I mean like more advanced knitters. Uh-huh.
We suggested this because it was going to be challenging for him. And I've made 2 of them. They're so fun. And they fly off the hooks. So this is kind of the pattern. And this is a cowl that I made with the honey cowl pattern. And it is, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I made a matching one for the 4-year-old. But I wish I will make another one of these days. Like I said, I don't know much about, at the time when I made this, I was looking for something to challenge me because I wanted to learn how to I don't know. There's throwing and picking. And I don't know which one is which. I know I hold the thread in my right hand when I'm knitting, but when I'm crocheting, I hold it in my left hand, and I can't seem to be able to hold two needles and hold my yarn in my left hand when I'm knitting. When I'm knitting, it's got to be in my right. So I wanted a pattern that would be simple, but maybe I could practice that. I could practice holding it in my left because I really wanted to be able to do both. Mm-hmm. And Annie at Far North Knitting Store in Anchorage, Alaska, said, "Oh, Tanya, I've got the perfect one for you." And it would be the perfect one. But by the time I was probably on the 4th or 5th row, I was like, really, why do I need to be able to hold it in both? I don't think I really need to hold it in both. It's just not a skill I need to have. So I decided I wasn't going to do it. And I knit the rest of the shawl in sheer enjoyment, or cowl, because I was able to decide I didn't really need to hold it with my left hand, and I continued the rest with my right. So that is the cowl Anthony is working on right now. He is using a bulky weight yarn and larger needles, obviously, but it's looking really good. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. So right now, what am I working on? I have 2 whips. One we've already talked about a little bit, so I'll talk about that one last. So this first whip that I'm working on is, would you hold that for me? Mm-hmm. It's called the Summer Fling Topper. It is not a free pattern. It's not free, but totally worth what I spent on it on Etsy. It is by the Knitting Contessa on Etsy, and I'm basically done stitching it. It's done. I need to block it. You can see that. I need to block it, which will stretch it out quite a bit. And I need to stitch the sides together. And then this one will be finished. So because I haven't stitched it, I'm considering it a whip still. Yarn that I'm using is Alexandra, the Art of Yarn. And this one, there's 600 yards in one skein. It's 100% superwash merino. Yeah, and I used a size. I used the 15s that I let Anthony borrow for his honeycomb cowl, or his honey cowl.
That looks a lot like the one that you spent $100 on for one skein.
You just saw the price tag, and you're taking this opportunity to bring it up.
Well, I didn't. I was looking at. I didn't look.
Yes, this one was spendy, but totally worth it. It is that soft. It's fantastic.
As long as you enjoyed it.
I have enjoyed it, and it was super fast. It was a super fast knit. A couple days, really. I enjoyed it, and I am glad that I purchased the pattern. And I'll probably make one as a Christmas gift for somebody. I have several whips. I only brought 2 in this time. Because I knew we were going to do a bit of an introduction. And so this is the Slipstravaganza 2020 Mystery Knit Along with Stephen West, which I wasn't too sure. I mean, the first clue for that knit along was sent out on October 9th, which was a Friday. And I actually purchased the yarn on October 8th and was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. So I have been, so if you're doing this mystery knit along and you're not far along and you don't want to see what the 2020 mystery knit along looks like, you should stop watching now or close your eyes and just listen. So this is clearly needing to be blocked, but I mean, it's just got so much texture and so many, there's just so much. And how fun is that? I have no idea what I will wear it with, but something fun, because look at this. Look at this. So yeah, I think right now there's like 900 and some stitches on my needles. And I am on the last clue. The yarn I am working with, I will see if I can pull out these tags here. Yeah, I think I got them all. No, not quite. It is done on a US 4. I am using my Chagu bamboo lace tips. These suckers, they are no joke. I mean, they are, can you see that? I mean, they are pointy.
Is that bamboo?
Yeah.
Made out of bamboo.
You want to turn with those, don't you?
No, because Miracle chew on them.
Oh yeah, he has a dog named Miracle.
Yeah.
And
I got her after, I actually got her, so my accident was in 2014.
Mm-hmm. She
was born in 2014, towards the end, November 2nd.
Just had a birthday.
She just had a birthday. And my mom, she's like, so what do you think because we were on our way to go get her. And I was like, so my mom, she was like, so what do you think you're gonna name her? And I was just like, I don't know. And you were just like, how about Miracle? And at first I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. But we ended up going with Miracle.
His accident was, I mean, it was pretty traumatic. I mean, he was in a coma for 4 weeks and they had me say goodbye 3 different times. And so the progress that he was making and the recovery he was making and the massive leaps and bounds and stuff he was doing that they said he would never be able to do again. I mean, it truly was a miracle.
Yeah. But, you know, we were talking about how I named my dog Miracle, and that's why we named my dog Miracle, because I can eat again, I can walk again, I can definitely not a vegetable. Miracle.
He's a knitter.
I'm a knitter. Occasionally.
Okay, so for the yarn, you needed one main color, which I'm trying to look here and figure out which was my main color. Okay, so I believe that my main color was Cascade Yarn Heritage, 75 superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. And so there's that. It was the Citron right there, you see that? Is that focusing? It won't focus. Nope, not gonna focus. And so my main color was the Cascade Yarns Heritage, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I needed 2 skeins of that, and it's the Citron, Citron colorway. And then you needed 3 contrasting colors. And I used 2 from Cascade Yarns, Heritage, same blend, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, colorway Sapphire. And then I used Malabrigo. Colorway was Sock Light of Love. I guess I could be showing you guys these. So my main color was this one.
And that was
this Citron. Yep. And then my contrast color 1 was the Sapphire. There you go. My contrasting color 2 was the Malabrigo Superwash Merino Machine Wash Cold, and it was Light of Love. And contrast color 3 was Heritage Cascade Yarn, 75% Superwash Merino, colorway Steel. Oops, there we go. So that's what I used for my mystery knit along with Stephen West. Very much enjoying it. I'm on my last clue. I'm on row 13, and I think the clue, so it gives you the option of a shorter border, and if you do choose the smaller border, you're going to go up to row 24, and I'm on row 13 of that. If you choose the larger border, you're going to do 48 rows. I'll be doing the larger border.
I can tell that you're pretty far along.
Because I really like it. But I'm on row 13.
That's what I was talking about.
I need more knitting time.
You do.
Social or alone. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. Finished objects. Next time you'll have to see if you can find one of your past cowls that you've made.
I gave them like as Christmas presents.
Well, Christmas is coming, so maybe you should have a few more.
Yes.
Okay. So finished objects. I showed this one. This is from long ago. It was the Honey Cowl by Antonia Shankland. Free on Ravelry. Love. Very easy. Super fantastic pattern. And then I have this finished object. I might even stand up to model this one. This was in a kit that I ordered from Blueprint. And it was called the Dark Arches. And it was knit on a size 6 or 7, US 6 or 7. And it was, I mean, it was a DK weight. It's the first time I've ever really knit with like a real scratchy wool.
Yeah, I remember you finished it and you're just like, I don't know, because it's scratchy.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan when I first finished it, and I haven't blocked it. I'm an anti-blocker. I have several shawls that I need to block, and I'll be sharing those at later dates. But
I think you should stand up to
yes. So this one I did the large size. So this is kind of the pattern of it. Super great, super fun, very quick. It did not take long. But yeah, it's got like a collar. And these little wing like sleeves, which I just love. I just love that. And it's so cozy. Take it in the motorhome, go camping, sit by the fire pit. It's just comfortable. And I just love the pattern. It's super fantastic. So yeah, that would be another finished object that I have. And it was the first thing that I've done with like a real, and I don't know what the right word is, a raw, not raw wool, just a scratchier wool. But totally fantastic. I love the end product. And I will say that as I need to scoop my chair back out. I will say that as I have worn it more, it becomes softer, and which makes me wonder if I would block it, if I were to block it and soak it and put the wool, and because I've never blocked, I don't know what it's called, woolies maybe, if it would soften it more. I don't know. I need to decide if that's what I'm gonna do. But anyway, I think that we're gonna call it good. What scripture did you decide you wanted to share?
Okay, move this. So I decided on Galatians 5:22 and 23.
Okay.
And that says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
Temperance.
Oh, temperance. Mm-hmm. Temperance. Against such there is no law. And a lot of people like myself are like, what does that mean? Just let the Holy Spirit lead you, and have God into your home, have God into your heart, and He will use you even whenever you don't feel like you're being used. He will use you, and it'll.
Why did you choose that one?
Because my 4-year-old baby sister, she is going to a Christian, what is it?
Yeah, it's a preschool. It's a pre-K.
Yeah.
Pre-K grade and it is a Christian-based program, and they have a scripture of the week each week that they have to memorize. And this particular one,
she's got it.
She's coming home and she's doing it with sign language, and it's, for joy and peace and love and thankfulness and self-control, and she'll tell you that's the fruit of the Spirit, and those are the things that we're always telling her. We have to remind her very regularly what kindness is, and it's nice that she's getting that same foundation in a classroom setting as well.
And she multiple times she's just like, God is real.
Yep.
She makes sure that you know that you believe. She's like, she tells me, Anthony, God is real. I'm just like, yes, He is.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do the day she's told or realizes that unicorns aren't real.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal. We're worried about that one. More worried about that than we are Santa Claus, but totally off topic.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So, anyway, I think we're going to call it for this first episode.
Yep.
And we'll be back. Maybe it'll be a week.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be 2. Maybe it'll be once a month. Who knows what it'll be? We don't know yet. But, all right, you guys. Till we get to see you again.
See ya.
Bye-bye.